You're watching The World with me, Charles Onyekuru. Let's turn our attention to Ghana now. And opposition politicians in the country have condemned the decision by the president to suspend the Chief Justice, who is the country's highest-ranking judge. A spokesman for President John Mahama said that an investigation into alleged misconduct had been launched into the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkanu. But opposition MPs say the president has abused his position of power and is trying to interfere with the independence of the judiciary. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now on the line from London by the African Affairs analyst and publisher of Africa Briefing, John Ansah. Great to see you again, John. What's the reason that's been given for this suspension, and how unprecedented is it?
Well, it is unprecedented. The last time a Chief Justice was removed from office was when I was about 9 years old, during Kwame Nkrumah's presidency, right? But look, there's a general perception that the Chief Justice, the Supreme Court headed by the Chief Justice, has been blatantly, partisan, in its rulings, in cases involving or in cases against the former Akufo-Addo government. I mean, so much so that even some eminent, law professors, legal academics have criticized, have questioned the impartiality of the judiciary or the Supreme Court. And again, even the former Minister for National Security, Kandapa, during Akufo-Addo's, administration, even came out openly to question the impartiality, of the Supreme Court headed by Justice Gertrude Torkanu. But see, so far, President Mahama has not done anything wrong. I mean, when the opposition, the MPP opposition, accused Mahama of trying to sort of torpedo or steamroller, the judiciary. They haven't mentioned that he had done anything wrong. They haven't mentioned that he had flouted, the provisions of the Constitution. He's done everything by the book. 3 petitions were submitted to President Mahama, and he followed the procedure. He submitted the petition to the Council of State, composed of 31 members, of which one is a former Supreme Court justice. One former Supreme Court justice, one former Chief Justice, one former Speaker of the National Assembly, and other eminent members. I mean, ordinary people and traditional, chiefs. Okay, they sat down, look at the 3 petitions, and establish a prima facie case. That is, establish that the Chief Justice had a case to answer. So from there, it had to go to the judiciary, to the Supreme Court, where President Mahama had to set up a 5-member committee to investigate. And those members, according to the Constitution, the 5 members should be 2 justices of the Supreme Court, right, and 3 ordinary people who are not lawyers.
Look, I'm going to interrupt you briefly there because we're running out of time, but thank you for that sort of exposition. Your point essentially is that there is justification for this, and that the grounds on which a Chief Justice in Ghana can be removed, the paperwork has all been properly met. But the opposition says it's a farce and a charade.
I wouldn't call it a charade. Look, the opposition's, hypocrisy, and double standards, in my opinion, is legendary. Okay, during their time, look, during President Mahama's first term between 2012 and 2016, I mean, he appointed the chairman of the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice. He appointed this lady. She was called Loretta Lomote. Okay, But a member, an MPP member, which was in opposition at that time, filed a petition against her. Mahama followed the same procedures, and the woman was removed. A case was established or was proven against that lady, and she was removed from office. Okay, so what the noise the MPP is doing is rather very hypocritical and double standards of the highest order.
So just because one group removed a former law officer doesn't mean that it justifies the removal of that another law officer. I mean, the circumstances are obviously different. And just very briefly, John, because we've got literally a minute or so, looking at the background and the backstory to this and listening to you, there seems to be some really deep conflict between the ruling party or the president and the judiciary.
I wouldn't say so. No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, look, the president is following the laid down rules, what the constitution provides. He hasn't, fallen far. Look, like I said earlier on, with all the noise the opposition MPP are making, they have not accused President Mahama of flouting or going against the constitution. He's doing everything by the book. He has no beef. He has no beef, to go against the judiciary at all.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your talking to us. John Ansah is an African affairs analyst. He's the publisher of Africa Briefing. He was talking to me on the line from London.